How do we get more done with the little time that we have? How do we become more motivated to do more work? Here's the truth about productivity, summed up in a simple little formula. P equals E divided by S. Your productivity is equal to your energy levels divided by how efficient your system is. We'll rate energy on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most and 1 being the least. Energy dictates how motivated you feel and also how long you can work every day before feeling burnt out. Without it, you'll have an extremely hard time getting out of bed, let alone study or work on a project for the many hours that you want. Now, there are two things that you need to make sure you are doing in order to maximize your energy. The first comes from optimizing your biology. Basically, if you have a bad diet, bad sleep, no exercise, a hormonal imbalance, lack of sunlight at the right times, if you breathe through your mouth instead of your nose, or if you have any other bad habits or addictions, chances are the baseline amount of energy you have throughout the day is much lower than it should be. Now, we're not going to dive into each of these things as there is a lot of information online covering each in more detail. What you should do is you should take note on which of these stand out, which of these areas you could work on, and then figure out how to fix these individual areas after finishing this video. But I will leave you with one tip that's really helped me out personally. I like to work in a fasted state when I wake up, and this is because fasting has been shown to release adrenaline, which is one of the most energizing hormones out there. So what I do is skip breakfast and I don't eat lunch until after I complete my work for the day. This is something that works for some people, but not for others, so keep that in mind. Now, the second thing you need in order to maximize your energy is passion. You see, when you enjoy doing something, energy gets generated during the act of doing. This happens because neurotransmitters like dopamine are released while you are studying a subject that you enjoy or working on a project that you're obsessed about. Every little milestone you reach or new piece of information you come across releases more dopamine, and this dopamine ends up motivating you to work even more. It literally gives you more energy. That's why so many of us are able to play video games for 8 hours straight, but can't seem to study for just an hour. Playing video games is an enjoyable task that releases dopamine every few minutes, which energizes us and keeps us playing. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, well, what if I'm not passionate about the thing I have to work on? Well, there are some ways you can trick yourself to enjoy the process more, such as temptation bundling, which is when you do something enjoyable while doing something less enjoyable. For example, eating food while studying a boring subject. You could also give yourself rewards more often by doing something like the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break and reward yourself during those 5 minutes. And finally, you could reframe your work as something that has a higher purpose, something that is extremely meaningful, such as convincing yourself that studying to become a doctor will bring your family above the poverty line. If techniques like this do not work, then you must face a harsh reality. If you genuinely do not enjoy something, it is almost always going to be much harder for you to generate more energy, especially over long periods of time. If you are genuinely not interested in becoming an engineer or a doctor like your parents want you to, then I honestly believe you should switch to something else that you do enjoy. Because when you work on a passion, you will be able to tap into a much larger pool of energy, which in turn increases your chances of success. You will go out of your way to research a subject that you are interested in. You will spend hours working on something without anyone having to force you to do it. Your productivity levels will be much higher because your E in the formula will be much higher. The second part of the formula is S, the efficiency of your system, which is also rated on a scale of 1 to 10, but in this case, the more efficient your system is, the lower the number should be. So someone without any system whatsoever, someone who just tries to do the work that they remember in their head, has a 10 for efficiency. They are not efficient at all. On the other hand, someone with an overly complicated bullet journal with 20 different things that they try to fill out every day, half of which they forget to do, that's like a 6. It's better than nothing, but it's definitely not the most efficient system out there. The most efficient systems are systems that primarily focus on the most important tasks that you need to do. I'm sure many of you have heard of the 80-20 rule. 80% of all progress boils down to just 20% of the work. If you can identify the most important work of the day and get that done every day, it's no question that you'll be more productive. Now, as some of you know, for the past couple of years, I've used bullet journals to organize my life. But this year, I've been trying to cut down on the number of things I bring with me when I travel, so I've decided to try out Notion, who are actually the sponsors of today's video. Notion is probably the most well-known online organizational tool out there. I've been using it to help manage the business for a couple of weeks now, and I've converted the most important things from my bullet journal onto the platform. Here is my video pipeline that I'm using to track all of the video projects that I have going on and where I'm currently at in the timeline for each of them. Here is my research page where I take notes on all the topics I'm currently researching and thinking about, which I eventually might use to create the scripts for future videos. Here are my daily to-dos. This used to take up the majority of space in my old bullet journal. It covers all of the tasks I need to do every day. It helps me remember to send emails and do other smaller tasks, which I would definitely forget if I didn't add them. I also use this section like a calendar, which gives me a bigger picture of what's coming up in the future. There are many real-life events nowadays that I have to attend, and it certainly helps to zoom out and be able to see everything from afar so I don't miss anything. I also use this as a quick way to jot down what I've done each day, which is something I used to do in my bullet journal as well. As you can see, it's fairly easy to toggle between the different tabs and update it with any new information, and Notion is very similar to a bullet journal. It's basically the digital version of one. You can do just about anything you want inside, and the great thing about it is that it comes with dozens of templates that you can simply click, use, and edit to however you like. You can even use it to track habits you are building, goals that you want to hit, and much, much more. Notion is an amazing tool that helps you dream, plan, work, and build. You can get started for free and create a new Notion workspace page using the link in the description box below. Now, like I mentioned before, it doesn't really matter what type of system you have. You could have a physical one in the form of a bullet journal or a digital one like Notion, as long as it is efficient, which means that you're not trying to do 20 things every day and you instead focus on the 20% of things that you need to do in order to get 80% of the results that you want in life. To sum things up, if you truly want to become more productive, you must make sure that you have as much energy as possible, and then make sure that you funnel this energy into the most efficient system as possible. This is essentially the secret to productivity. I hope this video was helpful. Besides that, guys, stay tuned.